Ever wonder why someone fell for you like it was written in the stars, only to vanish like smoke? Ever felt like you broke someone just by being real? Let me tell you something, no one else will. People don't fall in love with you. They fall in love with their unfinished story, and you just happen to show up in the right chapter. This isn't about attraction, it's about projection. This isn't romance, it's psychic warfare. In this video, I'm gonna take you deeper than love songs, deeper than therapy talk, straight into the unconscious machinery of why people obsess, chase, ghost, and collapse. We're talking Jung, shadows, symbols, archetypes, and the brutal truth behind why love feels divine, but often ends in ruins. And you? You're not just a person in their life. You're a mirror, a catalyst, a test. This is for the introverts, the overfeelers, the ones who've been punished for being too deep in a shallow world. Welcome to Darkside Demeanor. Hit that subscribe. You're about to see love in a way that'll make you question everything you've believed about it. Let's begin. Number 1. You were never the prize. You were the alarm clock. Ever had someone fall for you too fast? Like one glance from you ripped their reality in half? Like your existence flipped a switch in them they didn't even know was there? Let me say this with a blade in my voice. They weren't in love with you. They were in love with what woke up inside them the moment you showed up. You were never the prize. You were the damn trigger. They didn't love your smile. They loved the way your smile reminded them of a forgotten feeling. They didn't crave your body. They craved the safety, the danger, or the chaos your presence echoed inside their unconscious. You see, Carl Jung wasn't just writing theories for textbooks. He was decoding the architecture of human obsession. What feels like love at first sight? That magnetic pull? That overwhelming, "Where have you been all my life?" intensity? It's not fate. It's not twin flames. It's psychic resonance. It's your unconscious projecting a dormant piece of itself onto someone else's body. This is the shadow game. You see a stranger, and your mind says, "There. That's the one." But it's not them you're seeing. It's a piece of you that's been buried alive, hiding in the crawl space of your soul, waiting for someone to walk by who matches the smell. That's why the pull feels irrational, cosmic, violent, because it's not about personality. It's about symbolism. You don't fall in love with the person. You fall in love with what they represent. And that's why love so often becomes war. You fall for a projection. They fall for yours. Now, you're in bed with ghosts and wondering why it's cold. Let me paint a clearer picture for you. She sees you. You're quiet, thoughtful, maybe a little wounded. She tells herself, "He's different, safe, real." But what she's really saying is, "He's the father I never had, the stillness I never learned, the anchor I've craved while drowning in my own noise." Boom. You're now holding up her entire emotional architecture. You didn't apply for that job. But guess what? She's already convinced you're her therapist, protector, savior, and safe house in one. You ever wonder why things get weird right after they get perfect? It's because the unconscious is waking up and saying, "Yo, this ain't what we imagined." And here's the part that stings. The stronger the projection, the harder the collapse. People don't fall in love with your reality. They fall in love with their fantasy, wearing your face. The moment you deviate from the script, disillusionment, confusion, then silence. They didn't ghost you. They ghosted their own illusion, but it happened to be wearing your hoodie. Number 2, love ain't a magnet. It's a mirror with cracks. You've been lied to. All those romantic movies, all that love just happens bullshit. It's noise, soft noise. Love is not magic. It's surgical. It cuts deep, not because it's meant to heal, but because it's meant to reveal. Let me tell you what Jung knew, but most people can't stomach. Love is a mirror, a violent one, a cracked one. And if you're not ready to see your reflection in someone else, you'll mistake it for their problem. Here's the hidden law. We don't fall in love with people. We fall in love with our missing parts, projected onto people. You're a quiet, introspective man, always been in your head, always holding it together. Then one day she walks in. She's chaos, fire, says things you'd never dare to. She's got laughter in her voice and danger in her eyes. And suddenly you're obsessed. But listen, that's not love. That's resonance. You're not pulled to her. You're pulled to the piece of yourself she activates. It's not about her laugh. It's about the wildness in you that's been duct-taped shut since childhood. She's not your dream girl. She's your inner outlaw, dressed up and walking around outside of you. She's the part of your soul that was told to sit down and be quiet. And now? She's standing in front of you with tequila on her breath and a voice that says, "Remember who you were before you forgot?" Here's what most don't get. This dynamic works both ways. She might fall in love with your calm, but it's not because she respects it. It's because she needs it. Like oxygen. Because her own nervous system is chaos, and your silence feels like a life raft. You're not a person to her. You're a structure. And that's a trap. Because as long as she needs you, she'll cling. But the moment she doesn't, she'll start picking you apart. Your calm becomes cold. Your stillness becomes emotionally unavailable. That's how projection works. They build a temple around your traits, then burn it down when you fail to be God. Let me make it clearer. What you love in them is what's been banished in you. What they love in you is what they've forgotten in themselves. Jung called this the shadow, the rejected, neglected, disowned parts of us. And love? Love is when the shadow sees a way back in. That's why some people leave marks you can't erase, because they didn't just touch your skin, they touched your psychic architecture. But most people never realize this. They keep chasing people who make them feel alive, without realizing that feeling is just a flare from their own buried potential. You want to know why it always ends in chaos? Because it never started with truth. It started with hunger, with hallucination. You were using each other as mirrors, not companions. You were in a relationship with the pieces of yourselves you never integrated. That's not love. That's psychological warfare in disguise. And unless you wake up to it, you'll keep bleeding over people who were never the wound. Number 3. The 2 real reasons people actually fall for you, and neither is love. Let's kill the fantasy early. You ever wonder why someone feels so drawn to you? Not attracted, pulled, like gravity, like addiction, like you walked in and lit a fuse they forgot was ever there? Carl Jung didn't play around. He said this plainly, and I'm gonna say it louder. There are only 2 reasons someone truly falls in love with you, and neither of them is personal. Reason 1. You're the piece they've been starving for, that fire in your chest, that calm in your stare, that dangerous mix of, I care, but I'll walk if I have to. It ain't just attractive. To them, it's medicinal. It's something they lost. Or worse, something they never had. Maybe they grew up in chaos, and you walk like silence. Maybe they were always told to be small, and you take up space without saying a word. So what do? They latch on. Not because they love you, because they want to drink from you. Like emotional vampires feasting on qualities they killed off in themselves to survive. You ever feel drained after spending time with someone who's in love with you? Yeah, that's not love. That's extraction. You became their dopamine drip, their spiritual Uber to parts of themselves they couldn't reach. And they'll adore you until you break character. Show them your wounds. Say no. Get tired. Set a boundary. That's when it happens. They stop looking at you like you're sacred. They start looking at you like you're broken. Why? Because you stopped reflecting the role they assigned to you. You stopped being the thing they were trying to borrow. You became a person, not a projection. Boom. Game over. And now they ghost you, or guilt you, or guilt trip themselves into clinging for a little longer, until resentment takes over. You weren't their partner. You were their medicine, until they thought they were healed. They never saw you. They saw a symbol. And when the symbol cracked, so did the spell. Reason 2. You match an unconscious blueprint, the animus trap. Now this one cuts deeper, straight into the unconscious. Carl Jung talked about this archetypal duo called the anima and animus. It goes like this. Every man carries an inner woman. Every woman carries an inner man. These aren't preferences. These are soul blueprints, images formed by childhood trauma, parents, first loves, myth, and culture. You grow up watching your mother love without boundaries. You'll likely carry that softness as your anima. You grow up around cold masculinity. Your animus becomes stoic, detached, idealized. These inner images become loaded with psychic energy, and they live inside us, hungry for expression. So what happens? One day someone walks by, and boom, they match the template. Not their looks, not their voice, not even their personality, their essence, the vibe, the unspoken rhythm of their being matches something you've carried inside since you were a child. And suddenly, you're obsessed. It feels cosmic, like you've met in another life. But it's not destiny. It's projection wearing angel wings. You're not in love. You're having an unconscious reunion with your own archetype, and they just happen to be the unlucky body it latched onto. That's why it feels like fate. That's why it feels like danger, and comfort had a baby and called it us. But it's not about them. It's about the psychic story they accidentally activated. You don't love them. You love the character your psyche's been rehearsing for years, and they just happen to fit the costume. You know what happens next, right? They start being human. They say something off. They miss a cue in the script you never gave them. And suddenly, you feel betrayed, disillusioned, like they changed. But they didn't change. You just woke up. The dream wore off. The mask slipped. They were never the fantasy. You were never in a relationship with them. You were in a relationship with your own unconscious architecture. And the moment reality steps in, it burns everything to the ground. Number 4. Why the strongest loves always explode and leave you in pieces. You ever notice this? The deeper the love feels, the faster it turns to dust. Like one moment you're high on heaven's roof, and the next, you're choking on the ash of what used to be. Let's stop pretending we don't know why. These intense loves, the ones that possess us, they're not built on anything real. They're built on archetypes, on inner ghosts, on unhealed cravings wearing perfume and passion. And no human, no matter how golden, can live up to a projection like that. Eventually, the real you walks into the room. The tired you, the messy you, the version that forgets to reply, that needs space, that doesn't perform 24/7. And suddenly, they say it. You've changed. But you didn't change. You just stopped being their hallucination. They weren't in love with you. They were in love with the feeling you gave them when you mirrored their shadow or inner dream. And now that feeling's gone. They panic. They rewrite the story. They villainize you so they don't have to admit they were never in love in the first place. Not with you. With the idea of you. You were the screen they were projecting their soul movie onto. And when the screen cracked, they called you broken. Here's the real heartbreak. They didn't betray you. They betrayed themselves by refusing to do the inner work, by refusing to integrate their shadow, by chasing their unconscious needs in bodies instead of in themselves. And you were just the casualty of that war. So the next time someone falls head over heels for you too fast, check this. Are they seeing you? Or are they seeing what they're starving for? Are they drawn to your heart? Or to the psychic echo you stirred in their soul? Because if you don't ask those questions now, you'll be asking them in a few months, in the middle of a breakup, wondering why something that felt divine left you bleeding on the floor. Number 5. Love ain't what you thought it was. It's the universe in disguise. Let's burn the Hallmark version of love right now. You were taught that love is a reward, that if you're kind enough, pretty enough, calm enough, healed enough, someone will show up and love you the way you deserve. Nah. The real ones know. Love isn't a reward. It's a test, a mirror, a battlefield, a fucking initiation. It ain't the cherry on top. It's the fire that melts you into who you were always supposed to be. Every person you attract is a messenger. They walk into your life not to complete your story, but to rip pages out of it. Pages filled with lies you told yourself. And sometimes that message is beautiful. Sometimes it's brutal, but it's always accurate. Think about it. You meet someone, and suddenly your chest tightens. Not from fear, but from recognition. Your nervous system whispers, "I've felt this before." Not in this life, in some other layer of memory. A forgotten space in your psyche that only wakes when danger and destiny cross paths. Jung called this synchronicity. When external events line up with your internal evolution. It's not luck. It's not coincidence. It's the universe flexing, showing you that even your pain has choreography. Now here's the part that hurts. You attract what you still haven't integrated. You attract people who activate your unfinished business. That soft-spoken person who made you feel safe. They came to show you how unsafe you've always felt inside. That wild, chaotic lover who made your heart race. They were a mirror to the chaos you buried to survive childhood. That heartbreak that shattered you. It didn't break you. It broke the mask. It exposed the crack you refused to admit was there. The one you've been patching with fake confidence, shallow connections, and spiritual bypassing. And that's the thing people miss. You think love is supposed to fix you. Love isn't a repairman. It's a demolition crew. It shows up to expose every lie you're living, every pattern you're stuck in, every shadow you're hiding. The one who left you when you were wide open. That wasn't failure. That was your soul surgeon. Their departure was divine. Their silence was sacred. Because love's job isn't to stay. Love's job is to wake you the hell up. Number 6. You weren't their home. You were their earthquake. Let me stop the music and talk to you right now. You ever had someone fall for you like their life depended on it? Like you were air after drowning? Like they couldn't get enough of you? Then vanished, like smoke? Yeah? Let me tell you something you were never told. It's not because you weren't enough. It's because you were too much. You weren't a vibe. You were a trigger, a symbol, a damn reckoning. They weren't falling in love with your personality. They were falling into activation. You touched a part of them they'd kept buried under 100 filters, 1,000 defenses, and a lifetime of pretending. You didn't mean to do it. You just walked in with your truth, your stillness, your pain-polished energy, and boom. Their shadow flinched, their childhood screamed, their mask cracked. And that's why they ghosted. That's why they pulled back when things got deep. They weren't scared of you. They were scared of what you reflected. See, you weren't a cure. You were a catalyst. You lit the fire they were too scared to start themselves. And catalysts don't get medals. You don't always get closure. You don't always get a thank you. Sometimes you get left on read. Sometimes you get blamed for their own emotional earthquakes. But here's the secret. They'll never forget you. Because no one forgets the person who cracked their psychic shell. You weren't their comfort. You were their invitation to evolve. And most people ain't ready for that. You ever meet someone and feel like their whole being is just too much? Now flip the mirror. That's what you are to them. Too raw, too true, too damn real. You carry the kind of energy that doesn't let people stay asleep. And don't let this world gaslight you out of your impact. You are not here to complete people. You are here to wake them the fuck up. You are the earthquake that cracks their safe little foundation. The storm that ruins their fake peace. The silence that makes them confront the noise in their own soul. So the next time someone falls hard for you and then vanishes like a ghost with a grudge, don't internalize it. It's not rejection, it's reaction. They weren't ready to meet the version of themselves you exposed. They came for love. But what they got was transformation. And that shit terrifies people. So let them go. You're not their answer. You were just the mirror showing them their own question. And maybe one day, when they're stronger, they'll come back. Not to be with you, but to thank you. Because long after the goodbye, your reflection will still be echoing in their decisions, in their breakdowns, in their next love, and in the deepest part of their soul. They'll know exactly who cracked the seal on their evolution. Number 7. Stop searching. Start seeing and kill the fantasy before it kills you. You still think love's about finding the right one? Let me shake that illusion until it bleeds. You don't find real love by chasing someone who completes your playlist. You find it when you stop skipping your own damn track. Everyone's out here hunting for their missing piece. Swiping, scrolling, craving. She's not my type. He didn't give me butterflies. They don't check all my boxes. Listen to me. Your boxes were built by your wounds, not your wisdom. You think your type is instinct? No. Your type is trauma in a dress. Your type is emotional familiarity disguised as chemistry. You keep going after the same blueprint, different body, same pain. You want real love? You've got to stop asking, who fits me, and start asking, who reflects me. There's a difference. One is comfort, the other is truth. Comfort will hold your hand, while you stay the same. Truth will grab you by the collar and make you evolve or leave. Most people don't want love. They want relief. They want someone to distract them from the noise they've been drowning in since childhood. But here's the thing. You can't build peace with someone else until you've declared war on your own chaos. You don't need someone who gets you. You need someone who exposes you. Someone who makes you look at your reflection and say, damn, I've been hiding from this version of me for years. The moment you get this, you stop settling. You stop chasing. You stop bleeding over people who were never meant to bandage you. You'll recognize the lesson wrapped in every heartbreak. You'll see the signal inside the silence. And most importantly, you'll stop looking for love to rescue you. Because you'll realize love was never the prize. Love was always the path. The initiation, the soul workout, the psychological mirror that shows you what's rotting in your basement. People aren't meant to complete you. They're meant to reveal you, strip you, trigger you, awaken you. You don't need a soulmate. You need a soul challenge. So stop asking who will finally choose you. Start choosing yourself, with brutal honesty, with no filter, with blood on your knuckles and your shadow in your arms. That's the beginning of love that can actually breathe. Number 8. The quiet revolution, the one they'll never see coming. Let me break character for a second. I'm not some love guru. I'm not out here selling magic tricks or fairy tales. I'm a quiet man, a family man, an observer. The kind of soul who's spent more time in silence than in the spotlight. The kind who's watched love ruin good people because no one taught them how to see. And when I say good people, I'm talking about the shy ones, the overthinkers, the sensitive guys with fire in their chest but fear in their throat. I've seen them give too much, shrink too small, play nice just to keep from being alone. I've seen them mistake fantasy for connection, attention for affection, and manipulation for intimacy. They weren't weak. They were just never taught how dangerous fantasy can be when you never learned to value your truth. So, if that's you, let me say this straight. You don't need to be slicker. You don't need better pickup lines or more game. You don't need to change your heart. You need to change your awareness. Because awareness is the only thing that turns heartbreak into power. You've been trying to fit into stories you didn't write. Trying to be someone else's dopamine fix, peacekeeper, punching bag. Nah. That ends now. Stop being the dream they project. Start being the reality they can't handle. And watch who stays. You've got to make peace with this. Not everyone deserves access to your truth. Not everyone who wants you knows how to hold you. And most people will fall for your energy, then curse you when it forces them to face their own emptiness. So, here's your quiet revolution. Start choosing people who can sit in the room with your stillness, your silence, your unfiltered thoughts, your sacred fire. Stop trying to be easy to love. Start being real to witness. And the wild part? The more whole you become. The fewer broken people show up looking to steal your light. Because healed people don't attract chaos. They radiate clarity. And clarity is scary. So yes, some will leave. Let them. Because real love doesn't need to be convinced. It sees you and still stays. Not to fix you, not to fill you, but to walk beside you while you expand. You don't need to fight to be seen. Just become the version of you that's impossible to ignore, and watch the illusions fall away, like dead leaves from a tree that's finally rooted in truth. Final hit. So, why do people fall in love with you? Because you show them what they've forgotten, or what they fear, or what they desperately want to become. You're not just a person, you're a portal. And that's dangerous, that's powerful, that's sacred. Treat it with respect. This is Darkside Demeanor. If this cracked your armor even a little, subscribe now. Leave a comment. Share it with someone who keeps repeating the same heartbreak and wondering why. Because the truth, love doesn't come to heal you. It comes to shatter who you thought you were. And that is where the real self begins.